Hello and welcome to an episode of Todd Talk. When Todd Talks, people listen. Cat fingers. No, hopefully. I know I don't. Hopefully, wish I had cat fingers. I was gonna do like a Steven Universe sing along, but I did Kung Fu Panda before. That's all the singing you're getting. Till another relevant theme song. So today we have a death battle preview for easily one of the most insane death battles in history. And I know what you're thinking. Todd, you've said that before. But yeah, I mean it, okay? Because we got Steven Universe versus Star Butterfly. And dear gosh, it took me like an hour to research these two. I still only know lightly what they can do and their series. And this is freaking nuts. Okay? So let's just get into it because I honestly am on a little bit of a schedule today. Steven Universe. Gosh, where to begin? All right, let's start off with what the Death Battle preview taught us. All right, the Diamond Authority at one point in time was one of the most powerful entities in all the universe, and like a diamond, they believed in perfection above all else. Because we all know that's a winning strategy. And so, through their control of other gems like amethysts and garnets and pearls and blah 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 blah, they tried to impose their will across the universe until one of their own in Rose Quartz started to resist. She started a rebellion. She rallied everybody on Earth because she really fell in love with the planet. And eventually, this led to a war, which led to a lot of things. It led to a lot of things. But eventually, the diamonds were repelled thanks to Rose's power as a pink diamond, and because that's her gem, pink diamond. Right? That is her. I can't. There's a lot of terms I was trying to grasp while reading her wiki. So forgive me, Steven Universe fans, if I'm not knowledgeable. I've never watched the series, and I never watched Star Butterfly either. So anyway, eventually after the war died down, Rose met a man named Greg Universe. How and why they fell in love, I'm not. It's a kids cartoon. I mean, it's not really a kids cartoon. It is a kids. Never mind. This stuff is complicated. Okay. Anyway, they fell in love and they had a kid. However, to create this child, they weren't able to do it the normal way. Hint, hint. Rose actually had to give up herself to create their child, Steven Universe. Now, for a while, Steven was able to just live a mostly normal life alongside his father, who somehow morphed into, yeah. Um, but eventually, his own gem, his own crystal gem, which came from his belly button, um, manifested, and suddenly he was able to do things that he couldn't fully understand. And that's when the gems, garnet, amethyst, and pearl, came over to watch over him and train him to be a crystal, or crystal gem. There you go, crystal gem. And that's when all this madness starts, because Steven, being a child, is overly happy. He's overly eager. He's always happy to do adventures with his crystal gem friends. He has a crush on a girl named Connie. More on that later. And as his powers manifest, he has he and the crystal gems like try and use them for good. And as the only earther among them, he teaches them just as much as she teaches him. It's a very lovely thing. But this is where things get really dark, okay? Because you might think that Steven doesn't have any like major flaws outside of the fact that he's a young child now blessed with arguably possibly one of the most powerful gems in all the universe. Oh no, he screwed up because he was raised by a dad who wouldn't let him have a regular childhood, based in part because of his own life, Greg's life. And then over time, he found out that his mother, who of course was this great savior of Earth and the universe, wasn't exactly as wholesome as he thought she was. I'm not going to dive into this, but needless to say, she was a person who ran away from her problems. She would get angry all the time, and or she would get angry at times and lash out, including cracking the eye of another gem one time because they didn't agree on something. And Steven eventually, after he found out like really how his mother died, um, he started to have identity issues because he really started to wonder if he was their child, Greg and Rose's child, or if he was just a reincarnation of Rose, and thus, as whether reincarnation or her true son, he now was, you know, kind of forced to live up to a legacy, that he felt he could never achieve. So yeah, this got dark, didn't it? Yeah. So throughout the series, I gotta say this correctly, the series, the Steven Universe movie, and Steven Universe Future, Steven and the Gems went on countless adventures to, save the planet, save the universe, stop the diamonds, fight all kinds of monsters, all while Steven is trying to learn his powers, trying to accept who he is, and become someone who is Steven and not Steven, son of Rose, or Greg Universe's son, or whatever. Um, it's a lot. It's a lot, but and trust me, this is only like lightly touching on the story. I really couldn't find a good like detail thing outside of it, and I'm not gonna waste a lot of time because honestly, this is gonna be more of a talk about powers than storylines. But needless to say, it was a very deep story that had very lots of layers and lots of characters. And this directly, of course, ties into Steven's powers because as a crystal gem, he is able to do various things based solely on his gem power. Because of the gem that Rose Quartz had, which was the pink diamond, she had maternal protective powers, more or less. All right, so Steven's go-to is his bubble shield, which can be like a Captain America style shield or a full-on protective bubble. All right, and originally Steven could only do this about 3 times a day without overtaxing himself. But now in his more mature state, which of course is what we're going to see in Death Battle because of timeline, meaning Steven Universe Future, he can summon it at will without issue. And it's specifically said that it doesn't tire him out anymore. He can even summon it instinctively or reflexively without needing to perform a spell or do a motion or whatever. But as he grew with this power, he was able to go and actually morph the bubble into various things. Like in one gift that I saw, he could form the bubble and then turn it into like a spike ball, and then he compressed it on himself, and then he shot it out like a shockwave. So he's gotten a pretty good control of his power over time. Um, Other things that he can do is shape shifting, though there is a debate about how good Steven is at shape shifting because, like the cat fingers thing, remember that? Also, he has been known to kind of lose control of his transformations, including becoming the pink diamond, the pink monster, at the end of the Steven Future series, which was ended with a hug. Love. Ugh. I could do a whole thing about series finales, especially when we get done with Star Butterfly, but I won't. Anyway, but he has been able to transform parts of his body into various things. He has been able to actually manipulate his age depending on his emotional state, and uh, he has some really weird powers. Like this is really crazy. I haven't gotten to Star Butterfly yet, but like he can cry and heal people. He can create life from inanimate objects. So he's been canonically confirmed to create pebble monsters, watermelon bodyguards shaped like him. He can create plant life, like life that can like grow in a day, don't need like plant food or water or whatever, and like respond to his commands and whatnot. And so yeah, that's a thing. But also, he also has a really interesting mind powers. He has technically telepathy and empathy, and I mean that in like the farthest reaching senses. Because at times he's been able to actually go into people's minds to see what they see. He can actually possess a person's body. If you remember, like Doctor Doom, Lex Luthor, it's kind of like that. Minus the body swap, he can just go straight into their minds and can take control of them. All he has to do is have a connection with them, and he can do so. Um, he has an astral form which can do certain things. Um, uh, he has a lot of powers in dreams or whatever, and he can use it as like a telescopic lens, to see what they're seeing and feel what they're feeling. So like in one instance, he went to someone's mind, they were crying, and so Steven was crying. So yeah, he's got things, and he's got things. But then there's his pink state, which was at the end of, or which was shown throughout the series, because his abilities are tied very much to his emotions, and at times his his emotions would overwhelm his powers and thus overwhelm him, and he would transform into a pink glowy state. And at first, it was shown that he couldn't handle it because he lost all of his self restraint. But eventually, he got a handle on it and was able to control it more or less, including his final battle with Spinel. And in this state, his strength, speed, durability, control over his powers are all magnified heavily. And as stated, he went and fought Spinel, who I guess was the end boss of. I didn't have time to look at Spinel, and resist all of her attacks point blank and dish out just as much. So, in this state, though he can't maintain it forever, he has an incredible power set. And even as just a gem human hybrid, he has enhanced speed, strength, durability. He's able to heal himself as well as others. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he can actually resurrect life. Like if someone dies, he can resurrect it, and so did his mother Rose. So that might actually be how the death battle ends. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, and I'm not picking Steven Universe just yet. I honestly haven't made a decision on who I think is going to win yet. But yeah, he has that power. The catch, and there's a big catch with him, is that while his shield, which as the Death Battle preview showed, in theory can withstand just this massive blast of energy, it's tied to his emotions. And Steven is not the most stable guy out there. In fact, as I talked about his friend Connie, while they are best friends and he eventually developed feelings for her, he, because of all the trauma he had gone through all the Steven Universe episodes, and then the movie, and then the future series, he developed a form of PTSD, and all of the damage that had been done to him mentally and emotionally came to overwhelm him, and so he tried to latch on to Connie being his love, and he proposed to her. She said no for the time being, and he lost it. And he transformed, his emotions overwhelmed him, and he turned into a giant pink crystal monster that was so powerful it could defeat all the crystal gems. Nothing could damage him, and it was the power of love that brought him back to being Steven. And so, if his emotions are rattled, and it's specifically stated, if he is disturbed too much, he can lose control of his powers, and that will create more problems than it solves. But even with that, he was able to, through the power of his friends and power of his love, Connie, and his dad, Greg, he was able to overcome. He returned being Steven. He was able to get better, go to therapy. Again, this is a kid's show. Go to therapy, and he eventually decided to go on a worldwide road trip, not unlike his dad before him, to find himself. He and Connie got into a relationship, and they all lived happily ever after. We pray. I don't want to hear any more about this show. Okay. This show is very, very weird. So, yeah, but either way, Steven has saved the universe multiple times, and even when he thought he was a monster, he was still a kid just trying to do good at heart. He's always helped others, put others in front of himself, even doing more damage in the process. But he's always had other people's best interest in heart. He's always wanted to help people and do more than his mother ever could. And you could argue that he did. All right, Star Butterfly. Gosh, I hate this show. And this is before I found out about the wiki, because even though I never watched it, um, it's a long story, but at least to say a couple of trailers like really turned me off, and then after hearing about this show from fans like you, I realized that yeah, this was a really dumb show. Okay, even just the preview was like, yeah, I'm done. So glad I know I was justified. The Todd is always right. No, I'm not. My record shows that. But Star Butterfly, in the world of, what was it, Mew Min? Whatever. In her home world, magic is supreme, and there are all sorts of people who are able to use magic in various ways. But Star Butterfly, the princess of the realm, is easily one of the most powerful magic users of the bunch, and she is freaking nuts. All right. From a young age, she was trained to be both a warrior and a magician, including cutting off a dummy head at the age of 4. Yay. Anyway, so eventually, her parents were trying to control their very energetic daughter and almost sent her to a girls' school. They decided to send her to Earth instead because nothing could possibly go wrong on Earth. There, she met a boy named Marco, and in her eyes, hey, we're friends. And Marco's like, oh my gosh, this girl is crazy. So, this show's really nuts. So together they went on a series of journeys across multiple dimensions because she had scissors that could cut through dimensions, and yeah. Wait, scissors that could cut through people, man, or cut through things. Whatever, I heard that before. So anyway, much of the plot of the show was that there was a dark magician named Dark Magician, an evil man named Ludo, and he wanted Star's wand because her wand was, for most of the series, her conduit to using the magic of the universe. And with that wand, she can create and use all sorts of insane spells, and I do mean insane spells. So yeah. Um, and so the various adventures was of her and Marco trying to figure out, how to get out of the situation, creating new spells, learning things, and so on and so forth. And the threats kept getting bigger, the threats kept getting mightier, and then season 4 happened. Because you see, not unlike a certain Steven Universe, Star has a certain amount of flaws that really can irk you. Not the least of which is her insanity complex, but um, she she's an attention hog. She absolutely has to have attention, and she was a bit prejudiced towards the monsters at first. She did get over that. However, at the end of the series, she had the notion that magic was the root of all evil. She clearly never had money before, and she was so determined to save the universe that she decided to rid the universe of magic, all of it. This was called the Spell of the Whispers, or the Whispering Spell, or something like that. And so in the series finale, Star unleashed this magic that would wipe out all magic in the universe. The problem was that if she did so, her and Marco wouldn't get to be together because they're from different dimensions. But of course, this is a Disney show, and we can't have an unhappy ending. So they kissed naturally, and the power of love fused their universes together, so they got to be together. Happy ending. No, it is not, because in Star and the Forces of versus the Forces of Evil, there are creatures definitively powered by magic. They exist because magic exists. And so when she rid the universe of magic, she killed all of those creatures. All because she thought that magic was the root of all evil. Yeah. And you thought Steven Universe had a bad ending. All right, so I'll get to my dislike of Star later on. But here's the thing: as insane as she is, Star is a powerhouse. I mean, she is absolutely crazy with her powers. And I'm not even gonna try and list all of the spells that she has because that would just take way too long, and I got better things to do with my life. So, but in short, she has the power to do honestly almost anything that either she can think of or her book of magic spells can tell her, because the book is an instruction manual from all the previous people who held the wand, not unlike, say, like the Book of the Iron Fist. And she can learn spells, use spells, or just create her own, like when she did her cupcake blast, or the what was it, the Waricorn stampede or something like that. She can she has a giant laser that can neutralize planets, but she just uses it to distract giant cats. Okay. She can use her wand to greatly shapeshift things, including turning monsters into their lesser selves, or sorry, non-harmful selves. She was able to augment her and Marco's clothing multiple times, give Marco a beard that filled up a house. Um, I could go on. Summons. She also has a variety of summons, including a cloud that can dodge lightning. Like it's like a flying nimbus, like she can ride it, that kind of thing. She has a spider with a top hat that she definitively says is her best spell. Like she strictly says that's the best spell I got. All right, and it defeated a wolf, a giant wolf that all of her other spells could not harm. So yeah, spider in a top hat with a Gatling gun. The hat's a Gatling gun because of course it is. Wow, the show. So yeah. As for weaknesses, I honestly couldn't find any because they go, wait a minute, what about the wand? If the wand is gone, like, because that Ludo guy was trying to get it. What if she doesn't have the wand? Then she has no magic. Well, not exactly, because of her innate magical power, which is said to be stronger than than her mother, the queen. She could tap into the magic of the universe and go and do spells on her own without help at all. So it's not stated that she can do as many spells without her wand, but she doesn't definitively need it. So there's that. Also, she has the power to teleport, which she's done multiple times with and without the dimensional scissors. So that makes her incredibly fast. She is incredibly strong. Her father, for example, was able to lift boulders, and she could do that as well. Her speed, that's tricky because teleportation is obviously like instant is an instant thing more or less. But like her natural speed is incredibly fast because she's not human. She's a enhanced being from a magical realm. So like I saw one wiki that said she could run over like 50 miles an hour, but I'm pretty sure it's faster than that, obviously. Um, so and then she's got her enhanced form. I can't remember the name. I do apologize. There was a lot of weird words being flown around, but she can basically transform into a magical butterfly, and complete with much greater wings, and that enhances her strength, speed, and magical capabilities immensely. So yeah, Star may be the most insane princess you've ever known, the most insane Disney princess you've ever known. Because remember, she's a Disney character. So, but she does want to do well by others. She does love Marco, and she was willing to give it all up to save the universe. She really didn't, though. She really didn't. So, yeah. Star, everybody. Hey, all right, so where does this? I'm actually glad I'm only at 22 minutes right now. So where does this leave us? Honestly, at a bit of a stalemate, because as one person wisely noted, this is a case of an immovable force, Stephen. Sorry, an irresistible force, Star, versus an immovable object in Stephen. All right, because Stephen Shield is nuts. All right, his mother was able to do that, to block that blast from the Diamond Authority, which was Terra, Jawalian, yada yadas. All right, and Star has spells that just defy logic, imagination, and everything else, everything that actually makes sense in our universe. All right, because she's not from our universe; she's from another dimension. All right, Rainbow on fire. Um, so that's the thing. So let's look at the pluses and minuses here. Okay, Star clearly has the versatility advantage. That's not even close. All right, Steven is good and he can do certain things, but Star, her magic is insane, and it's stated just how. Again, I've pointed out some things, but like her magic goes far beyond what I've listed. All right, the wiki for just the spells, sorry, the respect thread that I read, the just for the spells was like pages upon pages of all the things that she's done. Okay, this was 4 seasons, 77 episodes of magic and broken up into segments. So yeah. Um, so her versatility is insane. Like, and she can transform people, she can teleport, she can summon blasts, capable of potentially neutralizing a planet, and so on and so forth. The problem is that Star herself is vulnerable. Yeah, she can take hits. She is very, very durable. But I've seen multiple people refer to her as a glass cannon. I'm not exactly sure why, I'll be fair, but they wouldn't have said that without, clear meaning. So it might be that, her magic isn't as, all powerful as she wants you to believe. Remember, she had to use a certain spell to wipe out all magic that wasn't her inherent power. With Steven, his defenses are incredible. He can summon his shields all the time and do it instinctively or reflexively. And his speed, I honestly think his speed is faster than Star's because his speed has been stated to be a percentage of light speed at certain states, and that was before his pink state, I think. Let's just say pink state for simplicity's sake. So his defenses plus his speed mean that it's possible that he could dodge every single one of Star's powers, even in her enhanced state. And remember, he has the pink state, which makes him more powerful. So they have their own super forms, which we're totally going to see in the fight, no doubt. And so they kind of cancel each other out. So the question is, who's really going to get the killing blow on who? And I really am not sure, because you'd think, well, wait a minute, Star can, shapeshift him. Well, Steven's done that before. One of his powers is shapeshifting. You could argue, oh, he doesn't have as much control over it, but even if you go by what Steven Universe Future says, he basically has mostly control over his power. It was only after several emotional traumas that he went and shapeshifted into the pink monster, which you could argue he could transform into, and Star can't beat. All right, not even with their spider with a Gatling gun. So like there's that. All right, and Steven in his more emotional states, his power grows and becomes uncontrollable, and that might not be something that she can deal with. You could argue that Star could teleport him away, but that just seems like too easy an answer, and I'm not sure. I wasn't able to really research how the teleportation works, but either whether it's with her scissors or her wand, it might only work on people connected to her, and that's not exactly a kill blow to Steven. He can survive in space. Like, he can survive on the depths of the ocean with his bubble. All right, he's there. All right, so but then you ask, can Steven actually kill Star? Maybe. I mean, he's fought incredible foes like Spinel and Bismuth, I believe his name was Bismuth. He's fought all sorts of monsters, both created by him and created by others. He's fought the Diamond Authority and actually stopped them, something his own mother could not do. So he clearly has strength. He has fighting experience, and because of the Universe series, we know he's actually been doing this for years, which was actually part of the problem in terms of his emotional turmoil. But it's really hard, okay? Because if you go just by the wealth of their abilities, Star has this. Star has this handily. But just because you can do a bunch of attacks doesn't mean you can, block somebody who has, that one punch that can kill you. All right? And that's kind of the problem here, is that, I don't know. Steven's defenses might be enough to hold off Star. And it might be a case where Star or it could be a case where, Star just shapeshifts them and teleports them to the sun. I don't know. All right, these characters are crazy, and I'm sure there's things I've missed. There's also, don't forget the whole Steven can project his mind into Star's body technically and take over. So in theory, he could control her, have her, eliminate herself or teleport herself out of there, and then he just gets back into his own body. Kind of like what happened with Lex Luthor and Doctor Doom. Transfers body, death blow, or a mortal wound, and go from there. So it's a lot to comprehend, and I would love to abstain, but I'm not going to do that because that would kind of be cheap, wouldn't it? So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of variables here, and is Star more stable than Steven? Star more stable than Steven? Star more stable than Steven? Kind of. Does she have more control over powers? Yes. Does that mean enough to beat Steven? I don't know. Does Steven even have the force to go and kill Star? I think so, because of his fights with Bismuth, where he actually shattered Bismuth. He defeated the Diamond Authority, who we all know was the ruling force of the universe for a long time, and his mother couldn't even defeat. He beat Spinel at full power. Screw it. All right, yeah, I'm gonna pick Steven Universe. If I lose this one, I don't care. These two characters are crazy, and I just don't care. So I know that sounds nihilistic, but I'm just like, these characters are nuts. All right. So yes, I am going to pick Steven Universe to be Star Butterfly. We'll just see what happens. And with that, I'm in this episode of Todd Talk. Who do you think is going to win between Steven Universe and Star Butterfly? How crazy is this fight going to be? And who do you think is going to be in the mid-season finale? Let me know in the comments below. So, thank you for watching. You made it this far. I know you were listening, and I'll see you around.